I have this groovy book I'm going to share from today. This is one written by Ernest Holmes and Willis Kinnear called A New Design for Living. And it was published in 1959. It really looks like a 70s publication, so they must have been ahead of their time, as usual. Some of you get our newsletter. Pardon me for just a moment. Some of you get our electronic newsletter, and I had promised, or perhaps you were just here last week, I had promised that we were going to talk about codependence this week, and I changed my mind. So there, you're off the hook. We're all off the hook. There's a funny thing that happens, by the way, at least in my belief system, when you decide to examine something and really delve deeply into it, you end up experiencing it. So let's just say I had enough of that. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. No. I went into this book to see what Ernest Holmes might have to say about love and relationships, and found such gems in two of these chapters. I think they're 15 and 16. And I'm not even sure if this thing is still in print. We keep waving all these books around, and I will tell you, if you ever have a desire to acquire any of them while we're new, this is our 21st Sunday, we do have the capacity to order books which are found nowhere else. So do ask if you're interested, and we'll see what we can do. In the meantime, I looked in here and I thought, this is so much better than what I had planned. So the first thing went in the garbage, and the second thing became what I'm talking about today. There's a Bob Marley song in which the chorus says, "One love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right." And when we do get together in our understanding that there is one love, that there is one heart, that there is one life, we do feel pretty good. It's when we don't that things get a little messy, right? That's where we go down that other road. So I had fun looking at our founders' exploration into the nature of love in a way that was much more contemporary than the 1926 or 1938 writings, and really refreshing. And one of the first things that's put forth there in the book is that love is interdependence. That love is really interdependence. And that the truth of the matter is that everything, from every molecule to every cell, and again, we've discovered things much smaller than that since this was written. So you can go all the way into the quantum reality and still see the interrelationship of all life, of course. But as we get more into the visible and the tangible, we still see this interdependence between all aspects of life. So all life is interdependent. Cells work together, organs work together, systems work together, people work together, communities work together, countries work together. We have that capacity. We don't always choose it. We have that capacity. And when we do that, great things always happen. Similarly, we can't really say that we're independent. If we were to try to operate without being involved with anyone else, if we were to try to operate without being involved with love itself, we would be trying to live without God, without life itself. And that, of course, wouldn't last very long now, would it? And it wouldn't be really great. So there's another word to describe this interdependence, which comes next in this exploration, and that is reciprocal, reciprocation. That love, that life is reciprocal. Very interesting thing that Spirit, God, the I Am principle, Creator, the Absolute, whatever you choose to call it, whatever feels right for you would be the right thing to say. That God depends, I don't want to use the word depends, however, it relies upon its creations for its expression. God relies upon its creations for its expression. Because it is unlimited, if we deny that expression in our own lives, that's okay. There are other options, right? However, we're finite. We are one of those creations for each of us. If we choose to deny that expression by means of us, we literally deny our own existence. We deny our connection with and the flow of the source of our life through us. So the bottom line is, when we deny love, we deny our own lives. We deny that renewing, revitalizing, necessary, essential force, and we cease to be. There's a quote in there. I put it in red, but basically it says that when one of Spirit's creations denies its experience of its source, it ceases to exist. So if I deny myself love, I am denying my connection with the source of my very life. And it's just a matter of time before my life no longer is. So that's the bottom line. Well, that kind of creates a little bit of motivation, I think, to consider the importance of love in a greater way. This isn't just about being kind. It isn't just about being nice. It isn't just about reaching out and making sure that you're a good person. It's actually saying that life is dependent upon life. That love is dependent upon love. Meaning that, and it's not even just symbiotic. Again, Spirit is infinite. It can always find other avenues of expression. And if we want this expression known as my life and your life to continue, and we want it to be as great as it can be, then we need to open up to more of that. So first we have this realization that life is interdependent. And that life, God, Spirit, Creator, the Absolute, is in all of its creations. That it is reciprocal. And that it relies upon its expressions for its life. And that those expressions rely upon it for their life, right? And so together we share this love and our lives become more and more and more, all that they can be, which is infinite. Now, I did have a little chuckle about this whole codependence thing, because that was the other approach, right? If we're not recognizing this interdependence, and we're not in this place of trying to be independent, the other thing that we might do is say, okay, I think the way that I get love, because I have some old ideas from the past maybe, is that I have to be very, very good. Maybe I have to get really great grades. Maybe I have to look just so. Maybe I have to just like all of the right things. Maybe I have to be seen with all of the right people. Who knows what it is? If we begin to put conditions on that, then it becomes more and more difficult to earn that love. And what a joyous awakening to realize we don't have to earn anything. As a matter of fact, no one ever could take it away from us. No one can add to it with their praise or take away from it with their disapproval, if you will. That's just not possible. Love already is complete, and it can't be anything but that. So there's this wonderful awakening of saying, oh, there I go again. Giving away my power to access love to someone else's whim. I can say, you know what? I don't really have to decide who to avoid, right? Because we want to love everyone. I don't really have to decide to plan a coup to take it back, The funny thing is, by the way, is that so often when we give away our power to choose about anything, no one else even knows we go through all of these contortions all by ourselves over in the corner. I've done it. I did it last week. I had invisible steam coming out of my ears and my heart would go, oh, it's chop, 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 cooking dinner with a little more vigor or whatever it was. And I was all by myself in that experience. All by myself. Until I realized I'm going to blow, so I need to reach out and ask for some help here. This is crazy. And what I discovered was, I had made an island of myself. I had cut myself off from love and from life. And I was right there like, on life support in a way, in this moment of just self-created turmoil that was so unnecessary. And it was all because I had seen somehow that my access to love was blocked by a choice I had made, or the power to choose it that I thought I had given to someone else, some garbage. Do you know, when I was preparing this for this morning, instead of having 4 pages and endless minutes describing that condition, it was so easy to just hop right over it and turn away from it. Because the moment we remember that life is interdependent, the moment that we remember that it's in everyone and everything, the moment that we remember that it's reciprocal and that love needs us for its expression as much as we need it for our lives, it doesn't seem reasonable to give that access to anyone else. It doesn't seem reasonable to hold some poor person responsible for whether you get it or not. That's not very good. That's saying, my teacher she had a nice long pretend swear word for the pulpit, which is dirty, rotten, rackenfratchet. She'd say, dirty, rotten, rackenfratchet. And anyway, so I don't have to call anybody names and hold them responsible for my well-being, which is the codependent thing. Because I know that each of us, including me, has love built in. Love in endless supply. We only compete for it when we think there's not enough. We only compete for it and strategize and plan all kinds of ways to get more or keep some of it from someone else if we think that it's in limited supply. So if we just step over to this idea that we are love, that love is infinite, that love is everywhere, there's nothing to earn, we are more than worthy. That which created us says, you are my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. And when you let me love you, I live more. I experience love more because you let me love you. When you let me love your brothers and sisters through you, I get to love more because you let me love through you. Now, I don't usually speak of higher power or creative, the creative force in those terms, and yet there is a personal experience of it available to each of us. One that only we can access, only we can define, and it's there. So think about it. There are lots of little ways that we might realize we've been giving away love. Again, I'm not talking about just being nice. I'm not talking about being a good citizen, a good sister, brother, what have you. There are little ways that we deny ourselves that love, which is infinite, ever-present, always available, right? That add up. This is my interpretation as I thought about it this week. Do they add up to a tightness around my eyes? Do they add up to parentheses around my mouth? Do they add up to a knitted brow? Do they add up to a belief that there's not enough time for me to do the things I love? I realized how much I like to ride my bike out in the fresh air, get exercise, look at the beach, breathe the air, watch the people. I had to take the first step, which meant that I had to say, I'm worth it. I love myself enough to make the time to go do this thing that is an act of self-love. And when I do it, I get to feel the real thing moving through me. And when I get home and I look in the mirror, I see a different person. I see someone who is loved in that moment. When I think there's too much going on and I don't have time for that, and I regret it, and I'm not happy about it, and then of course I realize, I can look in the mirror and say, who made that choice? I see a different person in the mirror. I see someone who denied herself love in that way. And of course, the next thing is don't beat yourself up for that. Just go pick anything to begin loving yourself about. There are all kinds of little things. I know there's a woman who taught that, she said, imagine making the time, planning, taking the time to put your makeup on, ladies, before you leave the house. I don't know if I can do that. I like to always make sure that I'm there on time, with a few minutes to spare, and then sit in the parking lot and you may see me. It's possible. I have this bathroom right now with this cute little princess seat and this big counter and these bright lights. I could be like a Hollywood star waiting to go on stage if I wanted to. I have to make the choice. There are all kinds of little things. Do you eat just to refuel, or do you eat to enjoy what you're having? The nourishment, the beauty, the tastes, the textures. Stop to appreciate it and your worthiness of it. This goes on and on. Whatever, there may be a hobby, but there may be a thing that you've been waiting all your life to do. Maybe now is a good time to begin it. Just a little bit at a time. So that's what came to me over the weekend about what really needed to be said today about love. Was not just this whole wonderful optional drama of giving our power away and then fighting to get it back and realizing that nobody could do any of that anyway but us. And just go back to the simple idea that love is present. We don't have to earn it. We're already worthy of it. We can't get away from it. It's what we're made of. It's what's inside us and all around us. It's all there is. So why not begin to enjoy that presence? And let it make us younger. Let it make us more vital. Let us live longer by making that choice. So if we get together in that understanding that we are one, that there's one love and one heart, we are going to feel all right. I invite you to take that home with you today. And just remember, let's get together and feel all right.